Hey friends, it's Devon from Short Film Roundup Talkies, whatever you want to call it. We have a sound glitch in this episode, and it's from this little part of the microphone right here. It makes this sound, and it's very annoying, and I'm very sorry. But you're gonna have to deal with it because we don't want to record the whole episode again.
Whoa! There's like smoke coming off my beverage.
Oh, that's a hot beverage.
Welcome to the Talkies Short Film Roundup Edition.
Short Film Roundup Edition.
Short Film Roundup.
Short film roundup.
Thank you. Short Film Roundup. It's our favorite time of the week when we watch 3 of your films and talk about them here.
Yes, sir.
Are we done?
That's it.
So that's it for today's episode.
Tune in next week to watch Mamma Mia.
Disclaimer.
Mamma Mia 2.
The disclaimer. What we do here, filmmakers submit.
Hold on.
Here's the thing. Filmmakers submit their work to us at r/Carmen Line Studios.
Reddit.
That's Reddit for those not familiar with Reddit language. And we watch them and review them here. Now, our reviews are brutally honest. We feel that's what's good for us, and that's what's good for you guys, the filmmaking community. And our disclaimer is if we are coming across ever as being mean or harsh, it's only because we've made all the same mistakes. We've been in the exact same spot. We know exactly where you're coming from. If it ever appears we're laughing at you, I assure you we are also laughing at ourselves.
Absolutely.
We've made plenty of bad movies to get to where we are today, and everyone needs to, right?
Yeah.
And we need to learn from them, which is why we're doing this in the first place.
Exactly.
Yep.
That is it.
That being said, what did we watch today?
I don't know. We got our first film. What is it?
Our first film is A Guardian Angel, written, directed, and shot and edited by John Snape.
All right.
So watch that link in description. Are you gonna go watch it, Kenny?
Are you going to the theater?
Did he?
He just went to the theater.
Does he know it's a half hour?
Oh, jeez. We're gonna have to wait here.
Got plenty of time.
Still rolling.
And we're back. Welcome back. Are we back?
We're back.
Is it on? Okay.
Yeah.
We're back.
We're back.
Okay.
Kenny,
Yes.
I noticed you have a notebook in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
What's that for?
Well, I took a lot of notes. This time, and I don't always take notes, but my feedback began piling up in my brain too fast for this one, and I realized I need to write this stuff down.
Right.
So, I don't know where to begin, so I'll just pick a place at random.
Let's just pick a place.
Yeah. The first thing is that this movie was very long for a short. It was primarily all around emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the story was an emotional one, and if there was anything that seemed to be trying to convey was emotional growth.
Right.
And that can be done with very minimal exposition. It could be done with very minimal visuals. Like, it could be done in 25 seconds and be very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Where some of these shots just went on and on and on, and that can be perfectly okay, except I never seemed to understand why we were still there. At the beginning, there were a couple shots that were just really, really long. And there are some great filmmakers who make you just hang on a shot forever to get to some kind of payoff. You know, in the end you realize there's a reason you waited.
Right.
And I never understood why some of these shots were dragged on so long. And ultimately, I think a story was told here, well, barely, that could have been told in 5 minutes or less.
Yeah. Andrei Tarkovsky said that hanging on a shot for a long time can give you a sense of unease and make you really uncomfortable. Then you can hang on to a shot longer than that, and then it's just bad. And then you can hang on to a shot longer than that, and it heightens whatever follows, and it makes it like a transcendent experience. But you have to, if you're going to go that long, you have to follow it up with something important.
A reason.
Yeah.
So, for example, we'll give us an example of a long shot that does work. Anyone off the top of your head?
Stalker of Andrei Tarkovsky. When they're going to the zone, they're sitting on a train, and they sit on the train. It's a couple different shots, but it's just them sitting on the train for about 5 minutes. No dialogue. They're just traveling and traveling. And then when they get there, it's the first time the film cuts to color and is no longer sepia tone, and they're in a very, very unfamiliar world where rules of physics do not apply, and there's all these mysterious things going on. And they've built up, before that long sequence, they built up this zone as this really mysterious and dangerous place. So sitting with it for that long made it feel like a transitionary period, and you got to kind of sit with the with the characters for that reason.
Right. Whereas here, some of these shots, because they were so long, it actually gave my mind permission to start asking questions that I'm assuming the filmmaker didn't want me asking. You know, I began to pick apart this kitchen that she's in and start to make assumptions based on what I'm seeing in this house, which took me in a completely wrong direction, you know. One of the big faults with this film I found is that leaving the character development and really the story, the meat of the story, that this was a woman whose family died in a car accident, that was all left till the end, right? We didn't get any of that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have any incentive to buy into this character, to care about her, to get invested in her. And instead I'm wondering, okay, she's an executive, like she's a businesswoman, she's a professional, and it looks like she's a mom because it's a big house, there's art on and she's just going straight for the alcohol, you know. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, she just like blew some major deal at work, she's considering suicide, you know, and I'm going just a completely wrong way for 15 minutes before I finally get centered on, she lost her family.
Yeah, you know what's funny was I actually landed on the idea that she lost her family way early.
Yeah,
I think that was by accident, but I really, really actually enjoyed the first two shots in here, and because they had taken at first, because the context was that this was an experimental film.
Yeah.
We were told that ahead of time.
We were told that, ahead of time.
Which, by the way, I don't feel like it was an experimental film.
We'll get to that.
Well, to elaborate a little bit on that, he mentioned, I can't remember the name of the director, but the director did Tokyo Story. He said it was in that way experimental, and I know he's more of a conventional filmmaker as opposed to, he mentioned another filmmaker like Peter Treshkowski, who is very surrealist, experimental. So it's a different type. It's not like a traditional type.
Well, experimenting with timing.
Yeah, maybe. A little bit more conventional.
Coming into it thinking that it was experimental in the regular sense, I had thought these first two shots were really, really cool because they had held on for a very long time, and and we had no context. Like we didn't understand what was happening. Like you said, we were asking ourselves questions as we stick onto this assumed mom who's coming through the door, and is just like, just you stay with her through this emotion that's just stressed or something, right? She's not all there, and stay with her throughout that whole thing until we get to the guardian angel bit, which was left unexplained until the second part of the movie, and then when the exposition came in, and then we can let's dig into some of that.
Sure. As soon as she started talking to the angel, the first thing she tells the angel is, I don't want to talk. I just want to drink myself. I just want to drink and drink and drink and do nothing else. I'm going to get drunk so I don't have to think about you or anything else. And then we have this long series of scenes of her drinking,
doing exactly what she said,
and later she refers to it as living through a hell. But what we see is not hellish. I mean, one of the things I had a problem with is that she never looked like she was drunk, or that she was particularly suffering. I mean, I don't know if the filmmaker has spent time with people who are at rock bottom and drinking a lot, but it's an ugly thing.
Well, and they don't. People who are drunk, or at least that part of depressed, are not. They're relishing their actions. They're not doing their actions and knowing that it's wrong, and going like this. Well, I'm hopeless, still hopeless. It's not that. It's I'm drinking because I don't want to feel. Therefore, when they drink, there's no emotion that's coming through. That's anti that. It's all affirmative action.
Yeah, and I've also felt it a little bit repetitive. That the only way she was dealing with her grief was alcohol, and I think that theme alone, there is enough there in that method to carry a short, but the way it was done here, like you were saying, pretty much didn't quite seem like it was
progress.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like it was going to get that much worse for her. She wasn't doing anything else to she wasn't like harming herself physically or anything like that. She wasn't torturing herself in any other kind of way. It was just like she would just get really hammered and fall asleep.
Except she never got hammered. It was like she was drinking Avion.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it. Yeah,
because if we're supposed to buy into the idea that she's just drinking her sorrows away, her hair should be getting all nasty. She should be vomiting on herself with piles of garbage. You stop caring about everything.
Right.
Right. I mean, that house should look trash. She should. Heavy makeup, black under the eyes. Go all the way.
Yeah.
And then the audience could have gone with her and felt that hell. And I think that's where maybe you just didn't go quite far enough. Is pull the audience into that hell with her.
Yes.
And the only window we had into that hell was her crying scenes.
Yeah.
We got that emotion out on the screen, and I think she did a fine job. But it just could have been so much more. We could have felt that emotion with her, but we just didn't see it.
The whole point of visual storytelling is that it builds empathy. That you can it's an emotional medium is what film is, and if you're watching it, then you get to feel what the person's feeling if you're doing it that way, and this didn't do it that way. I'm not saying that's wrong, but it definitely would have been, I think, a lot better had it been emoted.
Yeah. Well, and the empathy part, the reason the empathy is missing is because we didn't have character development.
Yeah.
I mean, it
started character development is based on
as we went,
right? As we go, yeah.
But we needed more.
Yeah.
We needed more up front. I wasn't given a reason to really care about her.
You see, I made the connection that her family died a little after the first time we got that surreal flashback thing of her.
Yes, that's when. Yeah, but even then, I was still like, okay, are we talking about a divorce? Are the children gone? Are the children dead? Is her husband dead?
Yeah, what kind of got me about it, or I guess just the biggest thing that I wasn't a fan of was the repetitiveness of the story, where we cut back to that park scene a couple times, and there was even one time where he used the exact same clip,
shots.
and it's like, I don't know why you would cut back if you're not going to reveal anything new.
Well, yeah. So
and it's like, just, she's drinking, her family's dead. She's drinking, her family's dead. She's drinking, her family's dead. I don't want to talk about it.
Right.
Okay, I'm okay now.
Right.
That's all it really is.
And by not having more diversity in those shots, those flashbacks, I mean, it's cool to go back and forth and have like these flashbacks where it's showing like, oh, she's lost something. This is in her mind. They're seeing memories of her family that she's lost and we're supposed to feel sorry for. That works, except if you just show the same instance over and over, now it's suggesting that this particular instance is of import.
Right.
Like something happened here at that playground at that time that we're supposed to latch on to, you know?
Right.
It felt like it was a part of the story and leading us in another direction again.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
There's other things, obviously, that are I don't want to say wrong, but there's other things that could have been better in the film, other than the story. One of them being set dressing. We had talked, so you talked already a little bit about there should be garbage everywhere. There's other ways to tell this person's losing it, and that's one way.
It felt like the filmmaker was being respectful of someone's house.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everything. So I respect that everything was clean, because that's one thing some filmmakers don't do, is they don't clean up their mess, and that ends up being part of the story, and it's weird. This one was weird in a different way, where everything was spick and span.
The house seemed too organized for someone whose life was just blown to pieces.
Exactly, and the lighting in here, I know you probably used in-house lighting, whatever you had on the ceiling. But you have to find a way to dim or something, because the lighting is, again, a character of the story.
Yep.
And it looked like things were so happy. There was even one part where it was lit like a sitcom, where it was where they had a symbolic shot of the light over the angel's head. That backlight filled with a whole bunch of front light is sitcom lighting. It's called
you feel like laughing.
Yeah, it's called I think just ambient light, or front lit is what it's called. And it's so that you can tell the audience it's okay to absorb everything here, and you can laugh. Mm-hmm. And that was not the part to laugh at. She's losing it there, and yeah, there's other stuff. Even like the TV that they had was just a monitor on a stand, and that's fine for your own use. It's not fine for something that people can't relate with everywhere. It's weird. It looks weird.
To make an interpretation, because I don't know what you were fully intending with every choice you made. I kind of like this idea of a front-lit situation in a super dark.
Yeah, the idea is nice.
Necessarily in the sense that it's like high contrast, but it gives it like a surreal edge, and the idea that you even said like absorb, and like you like take it all in, where it's like you just take in the entire scene of whatever's happening. And I don't know what that's just an idea.
That's nice. I kind of feel like it's an accident. Though,
yeah,
because there's so many scenes that are underlit and overlit,
right?
Because they're using daylight or in-house light.
Yeah, it wasn't a consistent through line.
Yeah,
I mean, ISO issues all over the place.
It reminded me of like some of it made me feel like a David Lynch movie, kind of like Inland Empire type.
So
stuff.
this is
what the more lit stuff.
This is what I want to talk about real quick. Is the lighting situation you're talking about feels like David Lynch? You've seen Too Many Cooks, right?
Yeah.
So in that instance, they have very, very, very dark stuff happening with very bright imagery.
Yeah.
And the lighting is providing contrast to that, but the lighting is part of a story.
Right. Yeah. It was a very deliberate contrast.
Right. Which brings us back to something we talk about all the time, is that all intentions come through in your film, even the lack of intention.
Exactly.
One of those choices had to do with sound, or lack of choices, we should say. We say this for virtually every film we cover. You need to use a microphone. You need to get a good microphone on your actresses so that we can get their sound and not all this ambient room tone. Because the ambient room tone comes through as intentional. It means something. It's part of the story, and I'm wondering what it is. When a film includes some kind of grating ambient room tone, like you're hearing right now in this show, from air
Unintentional.
conditioning and the restaurant next door, it heightens anxiety.
Yeah.
And there was like one scene where they cut to the playground, and the ambience dropped. It was gone because we were in this playground space, like in her mind. And then they came back to the house, and then instantly the house ambience came in, that, and it made for a really uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
It was very effective. Again,
Yeah.
it was probably by accident, but it made it like, ooh, you're stuck in this house. It just kept going because all the house stuff was filled with that. So my point is, if you want to control your story, you got to control all aspects of your story,
Yeah.
and that includes the sound, the light, everything.
The costume,
If you don't,
everything. Yeah.
if you don't consciously make the decision, then you're making another decision, unconsciously.
It's exactly it.
I found it a little odd that while this character is spiraling out of control and not caring about anything, that she's eating bananas and brushing her teeth. To
Yeah.
me, those were two things that are like, that's not congruent,
Yeah.
right? If you're,
Well,
those
yes.
those are signs of someone who cares about themselves.
Right.
Unless they're trying to say that she like has this part of her that's hanging on, her real self wants to come through. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, you're definitely right. I thought it was interesting how she got a severe hangover once, but they never.
Severe.
Well, she says it's
she had a
severe.
headache.
Yeah, but
She went, ooh, and then she looked in the mirror and went, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she looks the same. Like,
Yeah.
she needed makeup on or something.
But you know that it was supposed to be a severe headache
Yeah.
because she literally says it, and it's like, why is it just this one time is she having a hangover, and two, why is she acting surprised?
That's another thing.
She's like
yeah.
acting like she's like, why do I have a hangover?
There was one thing that I took issue with, the angel. The angel, it's probably just a taste thing. I don't care about the clean cut outfit. That's fine. I don't know why angels need to have clean cut outfits. Why she needs to be in white because she's an angel. I don't know. I didn't like that she was basically judgmental. And that she's like, oh, you're drinking again? You finished that bottle already, or I thought you finished that bottle, or whatever she said. She was constantly passing judgment on whether she was doing the right thing to herself.
I never felt that.
Again, I think it might be a taste thing.
Yeah.
Just
I felt like she was like not involved enough for a supposed guardian angel.
I should have. I think she
Yeah.
should have been less involved.
I felt like she was like useless. Like she just stood there and said, "How are you today? Want to talk? No? Okay. Tell me how they died. They died this way." It was like
A robot.
Siri.
Yeah, she was like Siri.
She
yeah.
felt like Siri to me. Which begs the other bigger question is, what exactly happened? Like, what is the arc?
She
What-
gets better.
Thing, yeah.
Why though? Did the angel help her get better? I don't think so.
It
seemed to be on
seemed-
her own.
Yeah.
And then we have
I
this
don't know.
sort of Charles Dickens-esque time
Oh, right.
freeze.
It's been one day.
Right. Where the spirits do it all in one night.
Yeah.
Christmas Carol.
Right.
Which seemed kind of out of nowhere.
Kind of neat, but I think it would have been
Yeah.
cool. They didn't never put in there was never an importance put on the passage of time beforehand.
That precisely.
So all this being said, the one thing that I could tell is that a lot of heart was put into this movie, and that everyone involved really genuinely cared about conveying these emotions on film.
Yeah.
I think it could have been done much better in a much shorter piece.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to give a lot of credit to the actress, even though, like, I wouldn't necessarily say that I totally was, like, in love with her performance, but, like, her just getting in front of a camera and crying
She really let her
your
guard
eyes out
down.
and
Yeah,
really
she let her guard
like
down
going
in a
all
big
out
way.
Yeah.
for a long take is very hard.
It's
That's hard to
it's
do.
And
respectable.
even
Yeah,
without
exactly.
the crying, just maintaining a character that way on camera that long, for shots
Yeah.
that long, it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
That first shot in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Maintaining that poise of this sort of held in emotion for what had to be several minutes.
Right.
Again, we give out the disclaimer for a reason. We don't mean to be mean or anything. We're always going to be honest with our feelings, and that's just how we're feeling. So we're trying to critique the best we can and do where we see fit, where we see that there's good stuff going on.
Yeah.
What do you have anything to say, as D is our resident cinematographer expert, about the camera work?
No. I mean, there was two. The first two shots I really still really liked.
Yeah.
And it's because they used not telephoto, but they used like a zoom or a telephoto something to compress the distance, and I thought that was really cool. As for the rest of the shooting, I felt like they made do with what they were trying to shoot. So like they had the two people sitting in the bathroom, and they had a camera high, and then they had the camera very low over here, and I felt like they were just trying to change up the position, but at the same time just capture the stuff in the room. And I felt like some of the shots were really cool, some of them were not very cool, but again, that's a choice thing, and I think that it wasn't the right choice.
I think it over relied on wide shots.
Yeah.
I mean, everything was very, very wide, very open.
Yeah.
We had a sense of space in all these rooms, and I think if you're trying to tell a story of someone who feels like the world is crashing down on them, you want to get in tight and close to their emotions.
Yeah.
We should be right up in her face, and I don't know that there were virtually any close-ups.
That's true. That's really interesting. Yeah, there were no close-ups here.
Instead, the shots gave her lots of breathing space, which is actually makes the audience more comfortable.
Right. It is more comfortable.
When we should be going to that dark place with her. I want to be on her eyes.
Also, handheld gives a sense of instability, and every shot in here was on a tripod, which is fine, but
not everyone. They did sort of a I couldn't decide if it was super cool or super weird. This one where they kind of tracked her in the kitchen, and it was very shaky. It seemed deliberately shaky.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that? It was like she was doing one of her drinking scenes, and it almost looked like they gave it some intentional extra shake to sort of emphasize her unsteadiness.
It was like they had the camera on the tripod, but they were holding the tripod.
But then, did they cut to like the tripod after that?
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. Anything else to say?
I'm interested to see. I want to hear what some of your thoughts were when you were making the film.
Yeah,
I also want to hear your story.
Yeah.
I want to know what made you want to tell this story. Is it personal to you, and do you feel like you accomplished what you set out to?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And thank you for submitting. That was awesome.
As always, thank you, and keep making movies.
Yeah. Next is thank you. Shell Shocked, directed and produced by Chris Smith. Link is in the description. Watch it and come right back.
Check it out.
I always cut to Kenny after I say something, but you never say anything.
I don't participate in this podcast.
I'm only here because I have to be.
Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. We hope you enjoyed Shell Shock. Now, let's talk about it.
Taylor.
Oh, man.
What did you think of Shell Shocked?
There's a lot that I liked about this movie.
Yeah? Tell me what you liked about it.
I liked a lot of the camera work. I liked a lot. I liked the main actor. I liked his look. I liked his performance. I liked the tortoise. I liked that there was a tortoise in this. I liked the sets that they had, and I like the idea of being just keep being annoyed, like just persistently being annoyed when you want to be alone. And you're just constantly getting annoyed by like a tortoise keeps bugging you.
Yeah.
And I liked that the sound was not insane. Like there was effort put into sound design.
There was definitely effort.
And
yeah.
Yes.
ADR, or not ADR, sorry, Foley.
Yeah.
Where I think some of the movie goes a little wrong is there's not really a story, and we've talked at nauseum about how a movie can not have a story and still be a piece. But I really got the impression that this movie had a story behind it, but there was no arc. It doesn't really go anywhere. And the persistence theme that I liked of being annoyed constantly was not done enough, I guess. Wasn't done full justice. Like it was an idea touched upon but not fully realized.
It wasn't enough to make it rest on that alone. It
Yeah.
left you saying, well, what else?
Exactly.
And we didn't have that.
Yeah, and there was not really much else.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, I dig the style of this movie a
Yeah.
lot, even though I think it had color correction mess all over the place.
Yeah, that was really weird.
And one point, a couple times, the whole color tone shifted so dramatically that it was just jarring.
It looked like a different shot.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, what
Dang.
just, like, it made me stop and think, why make that choice?
Yeah.
Which, again, I think is an accident. I don't think they want us thinking that.
Right. So I want to point this out just because I feel like I've done this a whole lot where I've color corrected something to make it look really, really cool, and then go to the next shot and then try to replicate what I did, but end up just getting close, but not too close, and then do it again and again and again, and to the point where I'm just copying and pasting and all this stuff, and it just doesn't fit every shot. And you can tell for the first 3 shots in here that the vibrance and the saturation was way different just in the first 3 shots. You can just look at the red curtains and on the set. Anyway, you were saying.
Yeah. The art direction was
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
I loved it. Some of the way they set up some of the shots, like that real nice wide shot of him on the bike and the car coming down the road, looked just super beautiful.
Yeah.
The cabin with the sheets in the window, that really stylistic yet impractical light bulb.
Yeah.
like this dude who's living in a shack, he's gonna have this like fancy light bulb from
I think it was meant to be old. I think that was what it was meant to be. But
those light bulbs
but it was
cost $25
Right.
a piece.
It was actually like it was just a hipster who was
Right.
out in the middle of nowhere.
right. Yeah.
But yeah, the story was confusing, and I think we solved a big part of the story on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
And we don't
which is
normally rewatch, by the way.
No, but you'd noticed. Taylor had noticed the sound of a car crash. I had heard it too. Dee didn't. And then we went back and said, wait, that must have meant something because they didn't describe anything later. And it took to our rewatch to tell that the pictures on the wall and that sound of a car crash, which was in his mind apparently, told a story of loss. That he had lost loved ones, I'm guessing in a car accident, and now he's living the life of a recluse.
Right.
Which, interestingly enough, it means we have a story of a person who lost loved ones to a car crash who seems to be brought comfort by a surprise visitor, right? Which is very
wait a
much like the
second.
first movie we watched, but this time it's a turtle instead of an angel.
That's kind of cool. That's it.
is
I
interesting.
question if he survived the car crash. Ooh. Because it's a weird. Otherwise, this scene is weird because he hears the guys on the dirt bikes outside, and he goes, so much noise, and he gets his gun, which is a pretty aggressive thing to do for noise.
Sure.
And he runs out there, and he's in rather close proximity to these guys. He's not far from them, and he's pointing a gun at them, finger on the trigger. That is some scary crap. And they all act like he's not there. Like, they don't even care. No one's panicking. They're just and then they just sort of slowly go away. And so I'm like, is he in visible? Did they see him? Like, it didn't make sense to me that a guy would run out with a gun.
Like you said,
It
there
might
was
be
a
a
wide
ghost.
shot before where there was a car coming and a guy threw something at him.
Oh yeah, so he was
Yeah.
acknowledged.
And also he bought
he
something
bought
at the gas
something.
station. And
People bumped into him. He's dead.
no, I'm saying at the gas station he purchased gas and the attendant handed him his change and everything.
That's true, but there were other people in that convenience store that totally acted like he wasn't there.
And there were
they,
two
like,
girls.
ran into him.
There were two girls standing on the outside who stared at him after talking to each other for a while.
He's not dead.
The cashier and those two girls
Are also dead.
no, they're mediums.
They're mediums. Okay.
They're all mediums.
No. They're his family.
Oh,
They're all dead
Oh!
too. Why don't you just blow out our mics, Taylor?
sorry.
I don't know. So I just thought that was hard to understand. Working with an animal is always difficult,
I love.
and
We've said this before. I love having animals on set.
I love when it works. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I don't like it. When it works, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But getting an animal to do what you want them
Oh, yeah.
to do
Yeah.
on camera is hard.
Yeah.
Even a turtle.
Yeah.
And so in that first shot, where we first see the turtle, I was actually quite impressed that it meandered into the frame when it was supposed to. You
I
know?
think that was an accident. I think it was a happy accident.
Well, it worked. Happy
Yeah.
accidents are great.
Because he didn't meander enough.
That was maybe the best one they got.
Yeah.
In our rewatch, we also stumbled across a potentially big flaw.
Plot
and
hole.
we'll let you, filmmaker, tell us. But it seemed like he's working there and he's drawing in his cabin, and we hear this what sounds like the sound of a generator dying, and his light bulb goes out. And so he gets up and he gets a can of gasoline and takes it into town to get it filled up. When he comes back, he just drops the can of gasoline in front of the cabin, walks in and changes the light bulb. So, was it the light bulb going out, or was it running out of gasoline in his generator? And
I don't remember if the light bulb turned on when he put it in. Did it turn
It
on?
did.
It did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From
so,
what I remember, I'm pretty sure.
so maybe here's my theory.
both happened.
The generator did not go out. The light bulb did go out, and because it's a big fancy light bulb, it made a crazy sound
Okay.
that happened to be exactly like a generator. And then
And he's like, well, let's
Yeah.
go get some gas.
yeah, he was confused.
Not related.
He thought it was the generator, so he got
Okay.
the gas and he got the light bulb. He's like, oh, I'll get a backup light bulb.
Did he get a light bulb at the convenience store?
Yeah.
I don't
So it was out, and then he plugs in a new one and it turns on.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So like the light bulb burned out, even though it was the generator that burned
Maybe
out.
they
So he
both
wasn't.
at the same time.
Was
But he
there a
didn't refill the
generator? Was he
generator.
getting gas for a generator
Or was he just getting gas?
to drink?
I have a lot of problems with this film.
Oh no.
I love so much about it. I like the camera angles. The person who did the cinematography has talent. Mm-hmm. They have talent. They have an eye. They can tell
And
balance.
they
There's
might
a
be
lot
the
of stuff.
same person, but the art direction
Yeah.
and the cinematographer, if they're not the same person, they worked well together.
They're on point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff is on point. The stuff that was weird was some of the acting choices and editing choices. So we have a guy who's supposedly a hermit and stuff like that. We have his room that's dressed up in all these drawings that I guess he's drawing this whole time. Again, we talked about how the car wasn't very clear. The car we couldn't tell it was a car.
Took a rewatch and we had to crank up the volume.
Well, and we
know
had
what was
to
happening.
pause it.
Oh, and
Yeah.
then the drawn
Yeah.
picture of a car was very hard to tell.
I was in almost adamant denial
That
that
it
it
was
was
a
a
car.
car
Right.
for a while. Like D had to like really pause there, point at it. I was like, I thought it was a bed.
Yeah.
And then,
So
I
that
saw
brings
it.
me to another thing: is the quality of the drawings. if someone like this is out on their lonesome, what I'm thinking what was happened, and because it's dressed up with all these drawings, is that he's just drawing just because it's an outlet for him.
It's his therapy.
Right. I would think, this is going to sound so bad too. I would think they'd be better drawings.
What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? I know.
Oh my gosh.
Guy
When-
just lost his family, and you're like making fun of his drawings.
I know. I'm a terrible person.
I thought they were good.
They're better than
they're
what I could
interesting.
draw.
No, okay, so that's the thing. They're way better than I could draw.
Oh.
That's great.
Oh, good.
But if they're not mass appeal kind of drawings, if you know what I mean.
Sure, but he's not like
Yeah.
selling them.
I don't know.
He just likes to draw.
I got this idea that this is like his
His
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
Right.
Right.
And just an artist, I think, should be drawing,
But I mean, what if that's just his style? That's what I got from it. I was like, oh, he just has an interesting
Well, I think to
style.
Dee's point, it all conveys intent.
Yeah.
It
Right.
didn't look like a style. And if it did, yeah, that would be
Honestly,
that would
the
be
drawings
interesting.
look like they're by different people. There wasn't a cohesive style between them all. And if in fact you were hoping to use that brief sort of dolly shot thing
Yeah.
across those pictures to tell a crucial part of the story, then those pictures needed to be a bit more clear.
Yeah.
Or they
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
be stylized as much. Or if
Yeah.
they were, then you would see that first. And
I
then-
think it's literally a matter of contrast. I could tell what all of the photos were, except the one that I needed to see. The one that I needed to see looked like it was drawn with pencil, rather than like a hard black on white. I literally could not see what the image was until I paused and
Right.
walked up to the screen and looked at it.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's
That
a
you
huge
couldn't
problem.
See it.
Yeah.
You needed if you want them to know the story, it just needs to be a bit more obvious.
Well,
than
and
that.
it needs to be more obvious. And there's also there's an intent factor here where the camera's going along these drawings because it's telling us something. And I think what was miscommunicated was that it's telling us that these drawings are being drawn by him, not that these drawings are telling a story.
That's true. That's what the first watch through. That's what I was thinking. Oh, look, he draws pictures.
Exactly.
Not, whoa, look what happened to his past.
Exactly.
You know what? I thought the same thing, and I thought the same thing even. I thought that, and then I also thought that the car crash was just happened to happen just by chance, and that it was another thing that was annoying him. Like,
Right.
like it's like just a loud sound. It's like,
didactic. Is that what's the word?
Diegetic.
Diegetic.
Yeah.
That it was diegetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And I actually liked it. For
That's
that.
what I thought
was like, oh,
too.
that's kind of cool.
I thought we were going to cut to an exterior and show a car crash that happened, out on the highway.
Yeah. So, well, I just want to say this real quick. One of the acting choices that was weird to me was the two girls that were outside of the shop. There's two girls that are standing there talking to each other for no reason but to stare at the guy when he comes out, and you can tell because there's two girls with no like backpacks.
No
for
motivation
anything. There's no
to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
There's no motivation.
spaced out in a way that makes them look like they're framed for a shot.
That.
Yeah, I get it.
You were gonna say?
Wherever this was shot, it's like a gold mine for beautiful.
Has
films.
beautiful location.
Like
Yeah.
it looks like I don't know, Utah, Nevada, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know where.
To jump back a little bit to that painting again, and that whole idea of if the most crucial part is not clear, it throws off the entire film.
Right.
Something as simple
drawing.
as a drawing being like visible changes the entire film. And getting that one thing a little bit wrong or not working 100% of the time is something that I feel like I've done multiple times. Like that's something that
Yeah.
I've messed up
Right, because
multiple times.
and it's hard
Right.
when you're close to your own work.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, when he's sitting down and watching his edit, he sees that picture
Yeah.
perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Right.
He hears the car accident. He sees the happy family. He sees the sad person walking away from the broken car picture, and it just makes perfect sense to him because you made it. You put it
made
there.
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Because you intended it.
Yeah. And I've had that experience exactly. The first cut of a feature-length documentary that I ever attempted, I gave it to like my most trusted mentor, a guy whose opinion I cared more than anyone else. And he looked at me and he said, "Kenny, this is a disaster." He said, "I have no idea what is going on." And I was so mortified, but it was like the most important thing I could have heard,
Yeah.
from him. He's just like, "This is just a mess."
Yeah.
Yeah, because I interviewed all these people. I knew all the context, right?
Yeah.
So everything else that they said off camera is also in my head with all the things they said on camera. And so every little bit they said made sense to me, the filmmaker, but I was too close. You gotta get it in the hands and in front of eyes of people that just have no connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
You do.
important, I think.
I think so too.
Anything else you guys want to say? Or should we move on to the...
It's just always worth noting, again, you said it once, but thank you for using microphones
Yeah.
and for putting the effort in to do some Foley work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sound of you striking that match, primo.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no absolute silence. That's something that bugs me
Oh,
a lot. There's
that was
absolute
something-
silence.
Except for when you need
Odd.
it.
Sure.
I wanted to say this. They used room tone or outside tone in here that sounded like it was recorded on location, and I could tell because of the wind. The wind was going, and it was like moving the filament. And so when you put that into your movie, it sounds like it's a bassy type of thing. So it sounded like there was like you made a comment on our last film that it made it sound like it's anxiety driven, that something is about to happen.
Yeah.
When it was just noisy room tone is what it was.
Right.
So it's a mixing error, I think.
Everything
Low cut.
everything communicates intention.
Yeah.
Like that horn out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. See, that suggests that one of our cars is being stolen right now.
Yeah.
I suggest that we're recording this in proximity to a parking lot.
That too.
Hey, that's true.
Stop, thief!
Should we move on to our comment from this film?
Oh, sure.
Actually, this comment says something interesting about it.
Yeah.
In that it illustrates our point.
Yeah.
What was the Redditor's name?
Redditor Jude Sweet.
Redditor Jude Sweet says that. Why don't you read the comment and then I'll comment on the comment.
Not a lot of dialogue, and I'm wondering why he's become a hermit. Maybe he's just an outcast of society, and he's treated as such by every other character in the movie.
All right, let's just stop there.
Sure.
Our point exactly is the filmmaker was trying to tell us that this person lost everything because of a car accident, and Jude Sweet, like us, did not see that.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, we do discussion threads for our films that we're covering a week before we record the episode.
That's how we got that comment.
And that's how we got that comment.
So, if you want to get involved in our future episodes of what is this called? Short Film Roundup.
Exact.
Yeah, get over to r/Carmen Line Studios and find the thread for the following week's episode. Watch the movies ahead of time. Let us know what you think, and we may include your comments here on the show.
Yeah, and there's also, you could probably end up talking to the filmmakers too involved who are commenting on their own thread.
Yep.
Thread.
I just lost it for a second.
All right.
Sorry.
Just a little stroke. All right. So our next one, we have A Walk in the Park, directed, edited, and co-written by Shane Richard. Go watch
it
that
out.
movie. Come right back.
So, you think you can cover my shift this weekend?
I don't know, Sam. The weekends get so busy. I don't know if I can handle it.
You can handle it, man. It'll be just like a walk in the park.
Are we back?
Huh?
Oh, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
Hi.
Cool.
Whoa! What a movie.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
Great movie.
It's hard to pick really very much wrong with this film at all because it's exactly what a short film should be, especially a comedy.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. The downfall of many short comedies is they try to be something bigger than they are. Mm-hmm. Most short film comedies are setup, punchline, setup, punchline. That's it. You don't need more than like a couple minutes to do that, right? And many people come up with a clever gimmick, a clever joke, and they think, I've got a great idea for a short film, and they cram 5 minutes around this one gag.
Whereas this extended the joke because they were playing the sample thing over and over and over.
It extended the joke into the closing credits, which I think is forgivable. You know, the movie was over.
I liked it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But again, the whole movie was based around this one gag, right? Like a walk in the park. Oh, he had this traumatic. So walking in the park's not a good thing for him, and they've in this very over the top way show like the worst, and it just got worse and worse and worse. That was clever writing.
Yeah. Oh well, and he had jokes inside of that too. Was it?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, dude. The guy who stabs him after taking his wallet.
Right.
He's like, give me your wallet. He's like, are you kidding me? Fine. He goes, he just stabs him anyway.
Yeah, it's more than just hey, what if this guy had a walk in the park and it was just bad? Yeah. Like there's plenty of times to be just bad walk in the park, but then you have lightning strikes, you have your coffee and your ice cream at the same time that you're spilling both.
Yeah, you lose your ice cream cone, your coffee's too hot, and you spill it on yourself and you get attacked by bees or you slide on marbles.
Stepping on a bear trap and sliding on marbles. That was
the bear trap. That's a hazard. There shouldn't be bear traps in a park.
Yeah. That was so great.
Just not safe.
One of the things I really want to point out that I thought this did so well was it's a simple little thing, but he steps into the bear trap, right, and goes, oh no, and then a guy comes to rob him of his wallet. And he says to the robber, help me, right? He says, help me. Now, that's just common sense, you would think. But when you're a storyteller and you're like, I've got these events set in my head, and you're like, okay, he steps in the bear trap, and then a guy comes and robs him of his wallet. You never think to yourself, oh, the guy should say, help me to the guy. It's natural, though. And I thought, I just want to put that out. That it's just so
that's
nice.
A good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. This movie it's just funny. And I was like slightly worried when it came back and he was like, oh, it'll be a piece of cake. And then it kept going. I was like, no, please.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was rooting for him. I'm like, don't do it again.
Like,
don't do it again. But because they did it over closing credits, just
it worked
audio,
out.
It worked out. If they had done a whole nother sequence showing how the piece of cake was a disaster,
that would have ruined it.
It would have ruined the entire thing.
It
really
just
would
been
have
drawn out. Yeah.
So, kudos.
Yeah.
And then from a technical aspect, they really pulled off some of those digital effects.
Yeah.
The bees
were
really
great.
Yeah.
The bees were great. I mean, composited just right. And now, it's sort of a softball because it's such a wide shot and far away, you know.
Yeah.
So having it just be a bit, cloudy, out of focus kind of feel works well. But it looked pretty dang awesome.
It did. Yeah, a lot of it.
Also
really
being
good.
in sepia tone, I think that helps. Too.
And the performance.
He was good.
Great.
Yeah.
He was good. The dude that comes in and asks him for the shift off, he was fine too.
Yeah.
Good acting all the way around. Decent sound. I felt like the two of them weren't quite mixed right. One was the guy standing up. He had one standing up, one sitting down. And I'm pretty sure what happened is there's a boom mic above all of them.
Right.
And the guy standing up is much closer to the boom mic.
Right.
So he came across as much louder. So lavalier mics might have been a better way to go. Or
just two different kinds of...
You could do two microphones.
Yeah.
You could have two booms. You could B-dog it.
B-dogging.
Which
Inside
is
joke.
where you hold your no, a lot of people know what B-dog means. It's a very common
It's
film
where you
term.
lower the...
You lower the
upside
boom.
down.
You
Boom.
flip your boom around so the mic's pointing up instead of down.
Right.
And you hold it, maybe at waist level or under the desk or something.
Yeah.
Proximity matters,
Right.
You had both of those guys recorded nicely.
Yeah.
Both of them sounded nice, but the proximity was way off, and that made it hard to mix.
Also, something that's
But I'm nitpicking here.
a very, very simple thing. Also, I want to point out was the subtlety in some of the acting in the very beginning. Directing here was great. I'm hoping it was directing. It was really good. When the guy came in and he says, "Hey, could you cover my shift this weekend?" And he's saying it as if this is something that he does. He comes in and he always talks to this guy and says that. And the other guy is saying, "I don't know," like it's something that he constantly turns down, but he always accepts. Like, these are great things.
It felt genuine.
Yeah.
To bring up, could we bring up a comment real quick that actually Jude Sweet also mentioned?
Sure.
Where he likened this to The Naked Gun by Leslie Nielsen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's sequences like that.
Yeah.
Of like just things getting worse and snowballing to an absurd level.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great comparison. Also, Jude Sweet also mentioned the Three Stooges and slapstick in general. And I just thought it was kind of refreshing to see a comedy, relatively, I don't know when this came out, but it looks new.
Pretty new.
Comedy that is almost completely slapstick. I mean, like, that's a genre that's
It's
not
also
popular.
hard to do well.
Yeah.
Slapstick, I mean, literally, there's like physical humor.
Yeah.
Is really hard to pull off, one, because it takes a certain kind of physicality as an actor to make it believable and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
If you're too believable, then it's not funny.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're too funny, then it's not believable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's hard to do. But it's also hard to make slapstick fit into a movie without turning the movie stupid.
Right.
That's the biggest risk whenever you do something like this, is all of a sudden the movie's just dumb.
Right.
And they balanced that well because they didn't try to overdo it. It was just the one joke.
Yeah.
The one joke with a little encore.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got pretty close to being like really dark. They got pretty close to being almost too real, but that kind of made it funnier. It made it less of like a slip on a banana peel and a slide whistle plays slapstick, and more of like a dark comedy slapstick where he's like bleeding out of his mouth and he got stabbed and he has a bleeding wound and stuff like that. I thought that was really funny.
I like that when we go into his flashback, we pan, or we sort of float over a sign that says park.
Yeah,
That was
it's
great.
perfect.
We're at the park.
It's great.
Right over
Park.
here.
That's just fantastic.
It is. It's
Yeah.
quite good.
Yeah.
Sort of Wes Anderson-y
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah. And the way he's walking too in that opening scene, he's got a coffee and he's got his ice cream. He's just like, oh,
Yeah.
walk in the park.
With my ice cream.
What's funny is that it starts so small. They did a really good job of making things progress incrementally.
Yeah.
More
Because
absurd.
the first slight was that his coffee was too hot.
Yeah.
He goes, ooh, and he's like, oh, and his ice cream falls. Oh well, and then it just worse and worse and worse, and never backstepped. You
Yeah.
know, it would have messed up the whole thing if his coffee was, or if he dropped his ice cream cone after the bear trap.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So well done.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a lot
really
easier
good.
to say. I mean, it is a high compliment when we don't have a lot to say about your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what to say. Like, I don't have that much critique of this movie. I just thought it was good, and I just say just keep doing what you're doing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
You're funny.
You're funny. Yeah.
If you have a short film you'd like us to cover here on Short Film Roundup edition of the Talkies, submit them to us at Carmen Line, at r/Carmen Line Studios.
Yeah. Link in description.
Link in the description.
Also, be sure to go check out the latest discussion thread up there where you can go watch next week's films and leave some feedback, and we might feature you in next week's episode.
Indeed.
Indeed.
And as always, every Monday we have our show where we cover a current movie out in the theater. Be sure to check those out too. And our Carmen Line Studios originals right here on this channel.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think that about covers everything.
I believe so.
So until next time, I'm Kenny,
I'm D.
I'm Taylor.
and we'll see you at the talkies.
We won't though because we're online.
I'll see you there. Let's meet up tomorrow around 3:00. Go to the cinema, watch Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
Yes.
Right? Am I right?
I haven't watched the first one.
I haven't either.
Oh, you won't need to.